Rakshasa Mirage Maji were dragon media, the son of a businessman. He was born handsome, graceful and, from an early age suave, like singing and dancing, often acting together with pear disciples, dressed Jinpa Chantou of female roles, like good-looking girls, so he has a handsome man nickname. The age of 14, Maji in counties past the scholar, very famous, father, old and feeble, stopped business at home homebound, he said to Maji relying on these books, hungry and cannot eat, clothes to wear when the cold cannot take over my child or father doing business right. Maji would then be gradually learn from doing business. Maji abroad to do business with people, the ship was blown away by the wind, after several days and nights, came to a city. The people there are surprisingly ugly, he came to see Maji, considered to be a monster, shouting and screaming, have fled. Maji just saw this scene, too much fear, know that it is up to the people afraid, but to take this to the people of the bully, met to eat. Maji ran on to go, people panicked to escape, Maji will eat the remaining food. Shortly after, Maji into a small village, there is also looks like a human, but they are ragged, like a beggar. Maji rest under a tree, village timid, just to see him in the distance. A long time, the villagers do not eat people think Maji, gradually Coushang come, Maji, laughing and talking to them, although the language is different, but still understand half. So Maji tells her story. Village rejoicing, all over the neighborhood reported that visitors do not catch people eat. However, ugly people look away, after all, not near. Those who are near, a location also features both Chinese people and the same, they put together under the food and wine to please Maji. Maji asked them afraid of their own reasons, replied, heard his grandfather say, thus 26,000 miles west, there is a Chinese, like most of the local people looks very strange, but just heard, to believe today it's true. Maji asked them why they are poor, said are valued, not the article, but the physical appearance of those most beautiful physical appearance when the Qing central authorities, local officials when times are a little, and then almost children can also seek favor elegant. To have cold leftovers to feed his wife and children like those of us who just born to parents is seen as an ominous thing, often abandoned. Those who do not have the heart to abandon, in fact, is to continue the family line. Maji asked what this country is called, replied, Luoshiguo, called the big capital at 10 miles north of here. Maji request led him to go sightseeing, so people got the cock crow, led by Maji travel together. After the big bright sky, they arrive at the capital. Capital brick walls, such as in color by black stone. Pavilion near 100 feet high, but rarely with roof tiles, but covered with redstone giant lay fragments mill on the nail, and cinnabar no different. At that time, the palace to is Hao, pulled out of the court in a gorgeous canopy of the car, pointing the village, said this is relative to the country. Maji saw binaural relative to the country have long backwards, with 3 nostrils, covered eyelashes eyes, like a curtain, like, then several people writing the eviction, the villagers said this is a doctor, indicate, respectively, and turn their office, our weird looks grim, but with jobs decreased, accordingly not so ugly. Before long, Maji took the way out, people on the street saw Maji, all shouting and screaming, stumbled to escape trampled, like a monster-like experience. Village tried to explain, street people dared to stand in the distance. Maji back to the village, the country in both adults and children, in the village too know the different people, so gentry courtiers scrambled to eye-opener, let Maji went to the village to invite a guest. However, Maji and everyone, closing the door to the janitor, men and women are secretly watched through the crack in the meeting, after a long day, or no one would dare met Maji. Village, said there is an armor-bearer Lang, who has a foreign ambassador kings, who have seen much, maybe you will not be afraid. Maji visits armor-bearer Lang armor-bearer really glad to Maji regarded as a VIP. A look at the armor-bearer Lang looks like a 80s and 90s who, protruding eyes, thick curly beard, like a hedgehog, Armor bearer Lang said, I have come in the early years of the country Wang's Haiming to undertake the mission of ambassador to most, except I have not been to China now has over 120 years old, has been seen on national figures, which cannot be reported to the emperor. However, I retired forest, more than 10 years did not tread stairs court tomorrow morning, inborn for you. Having said put food and drink, the best gift of hospitality owner. Guo Shu Wine Tower, Armor bearer Lang singing girl dancers call out more than 10 people, took turns singing and dancing. These people look like yaksha-like, all white brocade turban, red dragging on the ground. They do not know what to sing the lyrics, singing and the beat is very bizarre. Armor bearer Lang seemed excited and asked Maji, China also have these music and dance it? Maji said there is. Armor bearer Lang please Maji learn to sing, Maji will be pounding the table and sing a song. The owner said happily it's wonderful songs like Feng Ming Long Xiao, I've never heard. The next day, Armor bearer Lang went to court, the Maji recommended to the king. The king ordered pleased interview. Their 23 ministers said Maji looks strange, I am afraid that the Eucharist frightened, the king did not even ordered. Armor bearer Lang eviction told Maji, expressing deep regret. After a long time, Maji and Armor bearer Lang drink drunk, Wuji sword, Cole applied to the face, posing as Zhongfei. Lang believes this beautiful armor bearer, saying please to Zhongfei's face to see the prime minister. The prime minister must be willing to your appointment, huge salary is not hard to get it. Maji said, oh okay as a game, how to change the face of Hilltop Seek Laureate? Armor bearer Lang insisted that he do so, Maji was agreed. Armor bearer Lang put a banquet, invite the ruling officials to drink, let Maji draw a good face wait. Soon, the ruling officials came, Armor bearer Maji Lang called out to see off the ruling officials surprised and said it is strange how ugly the original, now become beautiful it. They drink together with Maji, drink very happy, Maji whirling dance, sing Yang, sold out swoon. The next day, the ruling on the memorial officials have recommended Maji. The king was overjoyed, and sent a messenger to summon handhelds to Chayurasa Maji. After the meeting, the king how China's country and bringing peace road asked, Maji 11 statements, greatly praise. They hosted a dinner in the palace Maji. Revelry timing concentrated, the king said I heard you good at playing court music, allowing Guren listen to it. Maji immediately impromptu dance, singing girl dancers also learn to look to the white brocade turban, sing some extravagant voice. State Wang Teiyu, Maji day of appointment for the next doctor. Maji often participate in the king's private dinner, by the grace of highly unusual. A long time, the DPRK big when Maji posing on the face quite aware, wherever Maji go, always see people whispering to each other about him, and he was not very close. So far Maji feel isolated, it was uneasy, then request to resign retirement memorial, the king did not agree also requested a short break, the king gave him 3 months leave, so he was riding the stagecoach, carrying gold and jewels, went back to the village, villagers kneeling to greet him, he put the money given to pay their own past and good people, village thunderous applause, villager said we reward those little people affected by the doctor, tomorrow we catch mirage, should be able to find the treasure plaything to repay the doctor. Maji asked, mirage somewhere? He replied that is the sea bazaar, seas shark who gather here to sell treasures, the quartet 12 countries have come here to trade. There are a lot of games during which the man of God, wear clouds blotting out the sun, sometimes the waves masterpiece elegant value their own lives, not to withstand tough hardship, are taking the money to us. Let us go now to buy the treasures from the rush of the day is not far off. Mirage Maji asked how they know when they're mirage, replied whenever I see sea birds fly 7 days after their mirage. Maji asked the date of departure, would like to travel together with the village concept mirage, the villagers to persuade Maji value their identity. Maji said this is my piedoi and merchants over the sea, afraid of storms it? Soon, someone came really care to pay the purchased treasure, Maji and the village will put money loaded on board. The ship could only put dozens of people, with a flat bottom, High railing, 10 people rode together, sparking layers of spray, ship arrow. About 3 days to go far to see water clouds waves of the sea, layer upon layer pavilion, boat trade intensive, such as ants. Soon, they arrived in the city. We saw the brick walls are like people high tower towering into the sky. They mooring berth, landing into the city. I saw a display of dazzling brilliance mirage treasures, most of the world does not have. At this time, a teenager riding a horse over Shanghai of people have fled to escape, that the person is Toyo third prince. When prince through here, watching Maji said, "This is not a foreign land," person immediately promising to ask people to clear the way. Prince Maji G Township. Maji roadside salute, his own native place surname 11 statements. Prince said happily since courtesy visit, really fate does not light. So a horse to Maji and asked him riding side by side with their peers, them out of the west. Arrived on the shore of the island, they jumped into the water ride. Macy cried, Maji high up normal fear, screaming uncontrollably, saw seawater and departed, as stand walls. Soon Maji saw a palace, decorated with tortoise shell beams to bream fish scales paved with tiles, the walls sparkling, light Coushang sea figure, very bright. Maji dismount hand salute, into the palace, looked up and saw high above the Dragon King. Prince Kizao said I stroll in the bazaar, met a Chinese magi, led by Jin King. Maji came Wu salute. Dragon King said Ma is the scholarship of disabilities, the article will be able to exceed Guiyuan and Song Yu. I think Mr. Rauma waving large as rafters, write an article, Mirage Fu, one look generous poor beads diarrhea jade magic pen, to this essay, Maji bowed to the ground kowtow, accept commands, so to bring crystal yen Maji, long main pen, paper and smooth like snow, aromatic like orchid Mexican gas. Maji totaling sum immediately wrote a statement, offered to sons. Dragon King said with great appreciation Ma talented, a lot of credit for the country's water. They called each branch of the dragon, gathered to drink in mining Xia Palace. Guo Shu Wine Tower, the Dragon King to toast Maji said there is a beloved daughter Guren not wishful objects, hoping to marry Mr. perhaps intentionally, right? Maji left the seat, grateful, ashamed uneasily promised down. Dragon King said something to the people around him. Soon, there will be a few ladies help out the dragon. So pay ring ding dong sound, music played suddenly. After the worship ceremony, Maji sneak a look, dragon is really a beautiful fairy. Dragon worship finished, got up and left. A little while, the end of the banquet, head of DW double knot small lanterns painted lady's name, Maji leading into the next house, dragon makeup sitting there, waiting for the arrival of Maji. I saw the coral bed decorated with gold and silver, pearls, agate 8 kinds of jewelry, tassels on the curtains trimmed with pearls of pearl, fragrant and light soft bedding. At dawn, they came flirtatious young ladies waited, their side was full. Maji got up and quickly walked out of gratitude towards. Maji has been called consort Du Wei, Fu thing I read is transferred to the seas. Dragon King are all sent people to congratulate him, scrambling to send invitations to dinner called consort. Maji wearing beautiful clothes, riding a dragon hornless, someone shouted in front, behind it was surrounded by a pedestrian to get out of the palace. Dozens of warriors on horseback all Jinpa Chantou, shoulder white stick, shining glory, filling the road. Along the way, someone immediately played the zither, the car was playing the flute. Only 3 days, he traveled the seas. Since then, Malone Media, the name resounded through the whole world. There are an underwater Yushu crude can encircle trunk like white crystal clear as glass middle pith yellowish, slightly thinner than those arms jasper leaves similarly, about as so thick coins, finely divided suspended dense tree leaves shade. Maji often with dragon under a tree singing chant. Tree full of flowers, similar to gardenia, each drop one, are issued by the crisp sound Janayu, picked up the petals look as if carved of onyx, light shining, cute. Underwater often have a strange bird flute a tweet, bird life intermingled with golden feathers, lingsy on the tail is longer than the bird itself, as the sound that jade instruments play the melody of sorrow, and touched my heart. Maji, every time I hear the cry of the bird, will miss home. So too Dragon said, I was out for 3 years, away from their parents. Whenever I think of your skirts, tears, sweat, can you tell me back? Go home yet? Dragon said, immortal road barrier, I cannot accompany you back because I do not have the heart to the love of husband and wife. You take away the parents of their grandchildren slowly, let me find a way. Maji listened, not help but shed tears. Dragon also sigh. He said, this is certainly not the best of both worlds. The next day, Maji to go out back. Dragon King said, I heard you homesick. Tomorrow morning ready to go, all right. Maji thanked, said as a lone minister lived in the other place, courtesy of indulgence, pamper them preferential treatment, title ring to repay wish, stagnation in the heart of in. Please let me go home temporarily to visit relatives. I will try to come back together evening. Dragon placed under the banquet, and Maji farewell. Maji to meet the set date in the future. Dragon said, love has an end of it. Maji said, exception. Dragon said, to go home care of their own parents. Your filial piety reflects the life of the party, discreet, like life, like overnight, makes small children cry sad. What is the use of the state since then? My chastity for you, Xiaoai for me, too concentric, is the husband and wife. Why stay together day and night? Be considered life together. Anyone who violates the vows today, marriage is not auspicious. If no one worried about housework, satisfied at a maid as a wife on it, there is something else to say. So, since married, I seem to be pregnant. You are now on a name for their children. Maji said the girls can be called underwater a boy. Fuhei be called Dragon to leave a keepsake Maji. Maji took out 1 pair of ruby lotus and Luoshiguo obtained to the dragon. Dragon said, April 8th, after 3 years, you can come by boat to the South Island, when I put flesh and blood back to you. Then took out a bag of skin filled with jewelry. To Maji said, this thing treasures, generations of food and clothing will not be exhausted. Shimmering dawn, put under the Dragon King's farewell banquet, gave many gifts. Maji farewell salute, the Dragon Palace, Dragon sitting Aries car, Maji to the sea. Maji mounted the beach, dismounted, Dragon said, please duos Henchong, enter will go, while on the far away, sea again closed, no longer saw the dragon, so Maji returned home. Since Maji bowed out to sea, we all thought he was dead, and other Maji returned home. The family are all surprised. Fortunately, parents are still alive, but his wife has remarried. Then I understood. Dragon Maji said to him, Xiaoai, then, is already foreseen Jinpa's Hishi. Maji father wants to remarry. Maji did not agree, but collected a maid as a wife. Maji keep in mind a 3-year period, then sailed to the South Island and saw 2 children sitting on the water floating, splashing, laughing. Position does not move, did not sink. Maji nearly went to pull a child babble smile, grabbed Maji's arm, jump into his arms. Another child crying out loud, do not seem to complain about Maji to pull their own. Maji also put the child pull ashore. Look closely, the child is a man and a woman, all looks beautiful. Children wearing corolla trimmed with jade is that ruby lotus. The child's back with a kit, opened it, there is a letter which said want to come in-laws were safe and sound, hurried past 3 years, a red forever separated from us. A shallow bay waters make our news difficult to pass on your thoughts unceasingly. Finally stagnation into a dream afar from time to time led, only in vain Lawton faced by the blue ocean, filled with resentment but also how to think of flying to the moon. Chang'e still moon man alone, picking of, Weaver still melancholy faced the Milky Way. I was who, but it can never fall in love with you. The thought here, I always smile through tears. 2 months later, respectively, actually gave birth to twin sons and daughters. They are now able to babbling in his mother's arms. Made laugh for adult may well understand its meaning. Have to find a date to eat, grasping to eat pears, leaving the mother to live, so I put them respectfully to you, my gift to you. Lotus ruby hanging on the corolla as a marker when you put the child in her lap. As I was by your side, as I heard that you can fulfill past vows, I wish to be comforted, never in my life change of heart. dyed with goes for the heart casket items in the collection, is no longer a fragrant sesame oil conditioner. The mirrors see the newly dress, also long been not applied prostitute you like to travel from home. My wife is sticking to availability, if not close, the two separated. How can we say that the couple is not in harmony? But I still think, though laws have been on hold, grandchildren, but never met with the daughter, reasonably infer, are also considered shortcomings. A year later her mother died. I would visit the grave's funeral procession, in order to make way since then wife, underwater without incident, would not meet the day, way fuhe immortality, and perhaps dealings please be treasure, untold truth stop clear. Maji repeatedly read the letter, straight weeping, two children holding Maji's neck, said, go home. Maji even more grief, stroking two children, said, do you know where home? Two children crying forever, burbles to just shout come back home. Maji Wong vast sea, vast and endless day phase, just beautiful but boundless dragon can see, there is no road between the smoke waves can pass, holding a child on board had to return, a sense of loss back home. Maji know his mother will not live long, and put the whole body when used in funeral clothing items are already in the cemetery. More than 100 species of pine trees and cashew trees. After a year, her mother had died. When the hearse came next to the grave, I saw a woman in deep mourning, standing in front of the grave. When everyone is looked at her in surprise, sudden squall, thunder, and then it began to rain, instant. I do not know that the woman had gone. The new species of pine and cypress, originally many dead, so far all alive. Few Hei's son grew up, often miss their mother, once suddenly themselves into the sea, after a few days back, underwater daughter because the girl cannot go, I was often closed the door in tears. One day, during the day suddenly darkened, dragon suddenly walked in the door to persuade underwater, said, you have to get married. Why crying would give her an 8 feet high coral tree, a bag of dipterocarp, 100 pearl, a pair of 8 boxes inlaid with gold as dowry. Maji dragon heard the voice suddenly broke into the house, took the hand of dragon choked cry. Soon, thunder into the room shack, dragon has been without a trace. Different, she said, put on a false face to cater to custom, human and ghosts no different. There are people who love to eat scab habit, the world where there are, consciously intended to please have a little ashamed of the article. The article said it is not bad, conscious greatly ashamed of the article. The article said people are particularly good. If I browse openly as a man to play the city, people are not afraid to scare away the few. It has been called idiot lingaying how and holding the priceless be I will go to cry it. Oh, and great wealth only to find a mirage and